mission kind of thing, the cleanliness is a behavioral issue. It's a behavioral issue. So what needs to be done and the campaign focused on is more on behavioral issue. So it's not about construction of toilets, it is a behavioral issue. So what we focused on during the entire Swacch Bharat mission was, and the sustainability, this question is repetitively asked, is that if you are able to change the behavior of the person, you don't need to actually the government need not give money for construction of toilets. So you feel it is your responsibility to actually have a toilet in your house and also use it. So what needs to be done effectively when it comes to creating social capital is more on, we should link each and every campaign more on behavioral change, whether it is traffic, whether it is cleanliness, whether it is if you are riding a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler, adhering to the traffic rules is a behavioral issue. One, enforcement definitely is an issue. Second is also your behavioral issue. So if you go to a, let us say if you go to a town, let us say in Trichy, if you go to a town called Trichy, and even if there is no traffic person on the road, you will see that there is a traffic light which is red on, and the person will stop his vehicle irrespective of whether there is a the traffic police or not. It's a behavioral issue. And even if there is a police personnel and there is a red light on, you are still driving ahead. It's a behavioral issue. That means you feel somewhere or the other it is not your responsibility. So what effectively we need to do every time about a campaign is to work more on the behavioral thing, and that is when we will be successful. So converting the social capital that we are creating, the social capital should effectively focus on change in the behavior. When you change the behavior of people, like the person who has been using toilet for a long time, let us say yourself, now if you are asked to take a lota and go into the open, you would say, are you mad? But a person who has been using a lota and if you ask him to actually go to the toilet, he will say, why will I, I have been actually defecating in the open since my childhood. So his behavior needs to be changed, and that is what we have been able to do out of this campaign. So creating social capital, most important thing that as administrators, as persons in the management that we need to do anywhere, whether it is an institution or outside institution, has to be more on change of behavior. The behavior change is the ultimate thing. You know what? If Ladli Lakshmi Yojana, even though it is an incentive based thing, but somewhere or the other it also changed the behavior towards girl children. And that is when they realized, there is an incentive by government, yet at the same time there is a need to actually ensure the girl child is born. So a behavioral change actually ensure that the girl children are born. So in the whole gamut of things that we do, we should always focus at the root of the thing rather than actually doing superficial things. And second, public-private partnerships, absolutely. Now I'll tell about when I was Municipal Commissioner in Indore, we did this thing called cement concrete roads in colony cement concrete roads. We said that you give the sand and the cement, and we will construct the cement road. This is what I did when I was Municipal Commissioner in Indore in 2005-06. So if somebody doesn't give, the colony fellow, what he will do is he will not, the colony, the Resident Welfare Association will collect that sand and cement and they will give it to us, and we will construct and give the cement concrete road of that particular colony. So if somebody is not giving, we will leave that patch not to be constructed, and that enabled that everybody gives, contributes. When a survey was done, 98% of people felt that their money's worth has been actually spent by the by the city administration. And they felt it was constructed, the Resident Welfare Association actually constructed that particular road, not the city administration. So public needs to be involved at every point of, whatever you are doing, as much as possible, whether it is public at large or whether it is institutions which are capable of actually doing those things, and you will get your money's worth, and that's how it should be. I did my engineering. I was a university topper of Usmania University, and then I also went as a scientist in Government of India, but I still felt that I'll be able to do better if I am into civil services. So you still have time, you still have that choice to do. So it will be your choice to get into civil services. And I always say, whether you are from IIM or IIT or a normal university, or you are a BSc graduate or BCom graduate, it is always useful in civil services. Civil services is such a place where whatever you have learned during your graduation or post-graduation can be put to use. For example, I am an engineer, so whether I was in the field or now in the policy making level, like I'm the Secretary Industries. So lot of engineering, it is easy for me to relate what actually is manufacturing. It is useful. And it is also useful for me in designing projects, programs, and policy making. Policy making is a very, one of your faculty members is here who's into teaching policy making. Policy making has lot of nitty-gritties, lot of technicalities. For example, I devised recently the startup policy of Madhya Pradesh. So I had lot of stakeholder conferences, and we give incentives to somebody who's actually got investment from SEBI or RBI recognized institution. We give employment allowance, we give rental allowance, we give intellectual property related allowances. So lot of these nitty-gritties, technicalities are better understood by somebody who's actually been an engineer. And you being a graduate from IIM, you will understand, you will be able to make large impact and contribute a lot because you are learning those things while during a graduation. So anybody with a good background, really can help a lot in the administration. For example, I being from a humble background, I have seen that the importance of girl children. And I classically say this because we are 5 brothers and 1 sister, and she is the youngest. And we are 5 brothers and 1 sister because my father wanted a girl child. That's a very interesting thing. Generally, you'll find the other way. You'll have 5 sisters and 1 brother. So I always proudly say that my father was a visionary. He wanted a girl child, and that's why we are 5 brothers. And she is a professor now in Central University, and she is better educated than all of us. But what I'm saying is that humble background actually made me understand how people think when we're actually going to a hospital, a sonographer, and ask them, whether we are going to have a boy or a girl, and what actually are their compulsions to go for a sex determination and female feticide. So my background, humble background, helped me in devising schemes. So I always say that your upbringing, your background, your education, your experience as if you have worked in a particular industry or a entity, that helps you a lot in civil services. And civil services is a very generalized service. So it helps a lot. And also, subsequently, when you actually go to the policy making level, now Government of India and also state governments have become smart. They see what kind of education you have been able to have. For example, I did my MA Economics after coming into the service. So that is helping me a lot actually in devising policies and programs.